Hi everyone and welcome to this MYP Mathematics Category 2 workshop. My name is Martin and I am going to be your facilitator for the duration of that workshop. So every week I will send you a video like this in order to guide you through the activities that you have to do through the week. But first I want to just show you around in the Moodle platform. So if you have not clicked on it, here on the top left corner there is a hamburger menu which hides or shows a menu here, and it is very helpful because I can go to each of the module from anywhere. I can access the module, the conclusion, and topic 7. So I'll go back to it a little bit later. For now, let's start about the homepage. There are also links on top here that you can use in order to navigate your way through, and here as well goes well, but it hides when we are within the activity, so that's why it's not as helpful. So that's why I prefer like accessing like the module through the menu on the left. So in the coffee corner, in the homepage, you'll see the coffee corner. There are two uses for that. One, which is to introduce yourself. One is to ask questions and start discussions about a topic. So you can add a new topic here, or if you want to introduce yourself, and within every activity that you'll do, basically what I ask you to do is to reply to my post. I always like do an initial post that you can reply to in order to be able to follow your work like more chronologically. So when you click on the post, it's going to open up here, and you see at the bottom of my post the reply button to here to reply. So you click on it and it opens only a text box, but many times we want to use some editing tools. So you click on the advanced button here on the bottom right corner, and you'll see that here you will have more options. So here we can like put some text in color, make lists, and add a link. So sometimes you can, like for one activity in module 2, I ask you to add the link, so you can do it here. You can click on opening a new window. It's easier to go back to what you were doing before. But there are also more options here by clicking on the arrow pointing to the bottom. And here, for instance, you can add an image. So you can browse for an image. And you can also auto size and change the size if the image is too large. So this is an option that you will probably use. There are also here the option to put an attachment. So you see here you can add a file, or you can drag and drop here. So this is to browse, this is to put it by dragging. And then you can click on post to forum. If you have not clicked that button here, you have always by default 15 minutes to edit your message. After that, if you want to make modifications, you have to send me a message. So I will cancel it now. So you will do that many times. So the way that workshop is done is it lasts 4 weeks, and you go at your own pace reading. You do your readings, you think, and you can post your answers. And by sharing all of our answers, it gives us many resources. It gives you the time to like read and understand everything, because it lasts 4 weeks. For instance, I do another mathematics workshop in February where it lasts 3 days, 15 hours, but this is like with face-to-face meetings most of the time. So that is another option that exists depending where. So I'm going to do that in 2 weeks actually, but in French. Now, going back to the coffee corner, not the coffee corner, to the homepage. There is also the announcement here that you can access. This is the announcement, the message that I will send you. So you'll see the message that you have received if you click on it. And once again, we try to keep up the pace, 1 module per week. Of course, everyone in Asia, if you publish if you end your module on the Wednesday, I don't mind, because for me it's basically Tuesday still because of the time zones. Then what I can tell you as well is that here the progression worksheet, when you click on it, I have to do it here on my own. This is the read-only version, so I cannot change it. But what you'll see is when you do an activity, I'll put an X, and when I have taken the time to read it or comment it, then I fill it in color. So if there's only an X, it's not that it's not right, it's just because I didn't have the time to read what you've done. So I'll do it throughout the workshop. Okay, so you can follow. If I do mistakes, you just send me a message and there will be no problem. The idea is to keep track on your progression. The big blue button, live meetings, there are options. The links are not there. In Module 2, I'll add links. Module 2, 3, and 4, I'll add links to meetings. There will be 2 options all the time. Because of the time zones, I want to offer an opportunity for you to ask questions and also perhaps to delve deeper in some areas of the program that we might not see exactly within the module, but sometimes you have questions, there are things that you want to clarify. So these meetings are a good opportunity to do that. So it's always nice. So I do it for me on a Friday night and also on Saturday morning. So it gives you options. And although it's not mandatory, because I know that we have very busy lives, it's a way to be able to meet, actually. So then in the home page, there's nothing like really necessary apart from that. There is a resource library, but you'll see that on each activity that you need resources, I'll attach these resources all the time. So you don't have to go to the resource library, actually. The roadmap, if you access it, you can answer a survey to tell me where you're at with the MYP program. But you can also tell me within the coffee corner, so it's not mandatory, but I'll go and check if you have taken the time to send me information. I always like to know more about you. Then I'm going to click on Module 1, because this is what we are going to do this week. So in Module 1, there are the module notes. So here, for the first week, there are not many information, because it's basically a few documents. Starting next week, you'll see that there will be more resources. So you can click on the section here, you can access a menu here in the top left corner, but then what it does is it gives you resources and also guides you through your activities, but I'll do that as well. You see that I've done all the posts and I've clarified some things throughout the workshop. Actually, it's all done. So for this, you can rely on what I have written. So here it gives you an overview. Here, same thing, but it gives you the webinar. So that are the resources that I don't provide within my post. So once again, if you cannot access it, here, for some people it doesn't really work. You can go on topic 7 here within the workshop and then press on the MYP webinar playlist. And for some participants that cannot access the videos through the module notes, they can access it here. I'm going back to the module notes. If I go to the what is an IB education, so we will see that in module 1, we basically focus on what it means to teach within the IB program. One of the documents that I like a lot is not there, so I'll have attached it to my post, you'll see. Here, the standards. When we are doing evaluation visits, we use standards, so it's always good to go and read it. You'll see that here I will ask you to read the standard, which is the 004, which basically gives it gives you guidelines in order to what we should do as teachers. Basically, for the rest, the other standards is like more general within the school, but the 04 is for teaching and learning. So that's why it's important to read it. And that's what we'll do. And once again, read back the learner profile and also a little activity with that. Okay, so I will go back to module 1. So there are 4 learning engagement activities. Well, you have to introduce yourself and then 4 learning engagement activities. You see that here on the first one, the instructions here, I have written again here if you click on my post. So if you click on my post, there is a reading. I ask you, after reading that, your own definition of international mindedness, because even if it has been a long time that you've been teaching the MYP, it's always good to remind us why we are there. So one of the main objectives in the IB mission statement is the international mindedness. And this is what is really interesting to read actually every time, is how you apply international mindedness, what you can do in your class using mathematics also to foster international mindedness. So you can, but I ask you also to read what your colleagues will have shared and to apply to two of them. But this is one activity that I really like actually doing all the time, because I like reading what everyone does with that throughout the planet. Here, the second learning engagement activity, you've seen that at the bottom, I can access the next learning engagement activity, but often I go back using that tab here, and I can press on the next one. The IB education program, there are 4 values central to IB program, among which is the international mindedness. And there is also the approaches to teaching, which basically states how we should teach within the MYP, and learning, so the approaches to learning, what we want to develop for our students. So all of these are important things defining the IB program actually. So I have given you, if you press on my post once again, you'll see that I have added a second document, which is the what is an IB education. So if you have never read it, this is a short and interesting learning that summarizes like pretty much like the frame of what is an IB program. So really interesting thing to read, which talks about the 4 values actually. So once you have read that, you have to identify some elements that are related to the 4 values of IB education, and then why you can think what can make that story reflects international mindedness. You see that's not that clear, but you can still try to make links. And then what I really like with this activity as well is how you use these values within your class. And once again, by sharing and by reading what the others have written, it would be really interesting to see how you can develop all of that within your class, what it means to teach the MYP within your class. So this is something really interesting that I really like. And then learning engagement 3 is to go back to the standards and practices updated in April 2020. The first visits for which we are using these standards and practices are the ones like this year, starting this January. Before it was with the older standards and practices. The only ones that are using the 2014 standards and practices are the new schools which have an authorization visit, but it's all getting to these standards. So as I've said, the 04, which is useful for us, the teacher, it defines how we should teach, assess. So you'll see that there are many interesting things here and plan. So what I ask you to do is to read it and then to reply. So you'll see here, if you click on my post, I have already starting 4 replies, 1 for each practices, and then you can click standard, you can click on reply. What I want you to do is just to say one thing that you do well, one thing that you apply in your school, and it shows us once again how we can apply these standards within our class, and then also a question that you might have. So I see I might let you answer at first, and perhaps I'll answer it either here or later throughout the workshop. Last learning engagement activity, very fast, is to go read the learner profile attributes. So if you see here, I have given it as an attachment once again, and then try to identify one and to find an image which represents it. So very short actually. So I wish that you have a very nice week. If you have any questions, I'm going to be there. So it's a start. I'm eager to read from you. So have a nice week, everyone. Bye-bye.